So these are a lot of fun. These were effectively lost bits of EU that only about 10 years ago were finally rediscovered by North American fans. Abel Pena at StarWars.com in 2013, I believe it is, has a series of articles going into an immense amount of detail about what these are, where they came from, and the process of effectively sort of rediscovering them, translating them into English, and explaining all of the wonderfully obscure connections it makes to the rest of the EU. What are these? Well, they're from Spain from 1986, published by Plaza, Joven, and they are novelizations of a different episode from Droids and Ewoks, respectively. I forget the specific episode from Ewoks. I should have looked that up. I totally forget. In Droids, it's the White Witch. Like most novelizations, there are little additions and tweaks and things that provide some additional insight into some of the surrounding events of these episodes. Abel Pena goes into all the immense amount of detail about all the subtle connections that these episodes make and the additional contributions that some of those addendums to the story help provide. They are really, really hard to find for a variety of obvious reasons, because they were effectively lost to the fandom for years. So there isn't much of a sort of an apparent market for them. You can't imagine many people in Spain rushing to get these on ABE or Amazon or eBay, because frankly, not many people know they exist. What I hope is that we can raise sort of the profile of these books and get more people picking them up. Let's flood the North American market with these things. They're worth having, and they're worth having for your complete collection, because they aren't just straightforward adaptations. As I say, they do make in some cases subtle but nonetheless original contributions to continued EU lore with connections to other bits of the expanded universe. I was very fortunate to track these down. Again, I wasn't aware of these until that article all those years ago, and it took me a very long time to track them down. I believe I highlighted these on a live stream maybe a year and a half or so ago. It might not even have been on my channel. And so I realized, shoot, you know what? I probably need to make a separate video just to make sure folks know about these, for anyone who missed that or is unaware of these things. The English language translations are not hard to find. In fact, you know, they might actually be on StarWarsTimeline.net now. But I will drop in descriptions to the Abel Pena articles that explain everything you know about these. Just wanted to make sure that folks know these exist, that they're real, that they're legit. Frankly, you know, there are some things about them that might give you some concern. I mean, there's not a lot happening here. I mean, it's a pretty boring spine. You know, frankly, if this was an LP or a vinyl, you might be entitled to think it's a bootleg, right? There's just not a lot of production value here. But here we go. Here's the telltale sign. That's Plaza Joven. That's one of the main Spanish language licensees back in the day. It's legit. It's a company now owned by Penguin Random House. It's just that for whatever reason, these books in particular fell into obscurity, even though a lot of the other things that Plaza Joven did is not so obscure. Go figure, right? I'll just give you a really quick glimpse inside. It might be hard to tell based on the video quality here, but you know, this picture is not the sharpest resolution. Again, you might look at this and think, is this legit? But again, have no fear, it definitely is. Again, a really straightforward adaptation. I mean, basically taking screen caps from the show. Not a lot of concern for margin here, but again, it's this you know, it feels slapped together, to be blunt, you know, but it's interesting to think about the year 1986, basically the last year before you know, the Dark Ages, before we sort of lost Star Wars for a few years altogether. So I think the folks were rushing to get this stuff out while the getting was good. But they're definitely worth picking up. We can just take a quick look at the Ewoks one here. That's a lot of fun. Again, all of your rights holder information. Plaza Joven, 1986. A lot of great images. Great thing to give to your kids trying to learn Spanish, particularly with the particularly with some of the formalities of Spanish from Spain. So pretty straightforward adaptations, but nonetheless with some really obscure things inside that make these really worth tracking down. They're certainly a conversation starter. Just when you think you've got it all, as I'm fond of saying, there's always something out there that you don't realize you don't have. Even the Abel Peñas, even the Star Wars insiders at the time were shocked to discover that there was something that was officially licensed, that was legit, that makes original contributions. The EU that, again, had just completely gotten lost, right? So this falls in that unique category of not only obscure, but, you know, quasi-lost, but thankfully sort of rediscovered. So Ewoks and Droids, 1986, Plaza, Joven. Happy hunting. I hope you find these. I do think they're worth tracking down. And yeah, and at the minimum right now, I hope you take some time and go and search for these and go find the English language translations and enjoy a fun sort of trip down John's 80s Star Wars cartoon memory lane.